got that heat.
Welcome to another edition of the Lakers Locker Room. I'm your co-host, Tajon Graham. Alongside me is my guy, the one, the only, Mr. Jason Little. Jason, how you doing today, man?
Good.
Today we have another special guest for you guys. Both are in their fifth and final year majoring in biology and physical education, respectively. Please welcome to the Lakers Locker Room, Ellison and Mason Blais. How you guys doing, guys?
Good, man. Doing well.
How have the holidays been for you guys so far?
Been good, dude. A little interesting due to COVID. So I wasn't able to see like my full family, but I was able to see like my parents and my brother, which doesn't happen too often. So I was pretty grateful for that.
Yeah, it's been quiet over here. I'm back home in Saskatchewan right now, and yeah, same thing. Just trying to spend some time with some family members, and other than that, it's been pretty quiet.
Are you guys excited to start your final semester of university? I mean, it's the last run here.
Well, I think we both have one more year, I think, because we stretched it out due to COVID. So we can each have like our final year of ball on the court. So it's going to be my second or third last semester.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know about Mason, but
yeah, I got 1.5 semesters left to go. So, and I got my last year of eligibility back because of COVID this year. So I'm gonna run it back for a 6th year next year and see what happens with the boys. So.
Anyways, we're going to get right into it. So, Eric, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, just like the rest of us, our season was canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic. Just talk about your reaction when you found out there's no season and what expectations you have for the season. Have there been one?
Man, I was pretty bummed. I was kind of expecting it to happen. Like, we already knew the fall sports were canceled. Like, that was earlier on in the summer. But it obviously sucks not being able to play. But, like, it's a big year for development for all of us. That's like what our main focus is on. Like we basically get an extra year of like free volleyball and like just free workouts. Like now that like courses are online and everything, everyone has like so much more free time just to like stick to themselves and like work on themselves, their bodies and everything. So I thought there was like, I'm looking more like on the benefits than the negatives of everything. So I'm trying to like work on everything myself and become like a better person out of this year and like better athlete, better teammate, all that kind of stuff.
Right. So along with the season being canceled came the new norm of online school. So being a 5th year Mason, what has been the biggest adjustment you've had to make in terms of going online so deep into your university career?
Yeah, online school, the first month or so it was pretty tough for myself, just trying to get organized and learn the ropes of online learning, right? It's a lot of, you got to keep yourself accountable and be good with your time management. I found that the first couple of weeks you get a little lazy and you're not kind of scheduling things the way you should be, and it gets pretty hard and you get behind really, really fast. So for me, it was a struggle the first month, and by the time you get the hang of it and kind of learn the ropes and kind of learn how to communicate with your profs and whatnot, it gets a bit better. But yeah, for sure, the first little bit was pretty tough for myself. I'm sure Eric can attest to that as well.
100%. First like couple of weeks was garbage. I couldn't adjust to anything. It took so long, man. It was so hard. But once you like get the hang of it and like know how to like manage your time out, it's like it gets a lot easier for sure. I'm sure you guys can relate too.
Yeah. Has it improved your grade?
Definitely difficult to adapt for sure. I couldn't imagine some of the first years coming in, having to, expecting the typical university life, and boom, just being placed online.
No doubt.
Has it improved your grades any type of way or no?
Yeah, for me, my grades have actually been really good this year. They started off, well, I guess the first little while we didn't really have any marks to kind of go out with, but yeah, my marks have been pretty good this year, the best they've been yet in my 5-year career so far. So I've been pretty proud of that, and I worked really hard at kind of learning the online skill set and kind of learning the ropes of the online world.
Yeah, I can relate to Mace there. My grades have actually been the best they've ever been. I think that was like due to once I started to realize like I need to do this now, this then, like planning out my days accordingly and everything. It's just like time management basically with online, trying to figure everything out. Like as Mason said, just figure things out, do things as you can kind of thing.
Yeah, the biggest thing for me was emails actually, because you're getting about 50 emails a day, and you got to read all of them, and it takes an hour to go through your emails every day, and that was a rough learning curve for me.
That's the most stressful part, I thought, was getting like 20 Blackboard notifications on my phone every single day. It's just so stressful. You're like, what am I missing? What am I doing?
If you miss one of those emails, it could be whatever worth 10% of your mark that you don't know about, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty stressful trying to go through all those.
Yeah, that's the toughest adjustment too. Like, you usually have teachers saying, okay, make sure you have this to come on time and do this. Now you gotta look every day on your computer, say, okay, what do I have to do today? Because imagine you go through the whole week, you have practice, you do whatever, and then the last day is like, oh crap, I have something to do tomorrow. So that's been a big adjustment too. But anyways, let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about last season. You guys had a solid season, but lost in the first round to a tough McMaster team in the first round. Just share with us your thoughts on last season and that tough opening round loss to a great Marauders team.
Yeah, I can kick it off here. Our season, so the year before, we had a pretty rough season. We were kind of in a rebuilding stage. So last year we were coming in with an underdog mentality, but we knew we were going to win some games this year and have some success. And I think we achieved a lot of our goals last year. And like we said, one of our goals was to be a playoff team. And unfortunately, we ran into a tough McMaster team. But at the end of the day, you gotta win those games. You gotta pull through, and we just didn't do it last year. But we're hoping next year, if we can play, that story's gonna be a little different. So
Yeah, like definitely it was tough losing in the first round because earlier, I think it was my first year, Mason's second year, same thing happened. We made playoffs and got kicked out by McMaster. So we kind of have like a little chip on our shoulders due to that. Like that's like every time we made the playoffs, we've got kicked out first round. So that's like something we really want to achieve is moving forward in the playoffs, like winning that OUA title. And like everyone on our team is super hungry for that too. Like we all believe like we're such a cohesive team and everything. Like we can definitely achieve that. And like the way we've been practicing, the way we've been working out, everyone's like, there's been this huge determination from everyone that's like, man, like I want to do this. And especially like me and Mason, we have 1 year left of volleyball. Like, man, like we just want to go in like strong as hell into next season, you know? So like we're excited. We're ready to go for sure if we're able to actually play.
Right.
I had 2 goals when I came to Nipissing University in my first year, and I told coach my goals were to get an education and win an OUA championship. I'm getting an education, but I still need that ring.
Right. So in retrospect, looking back at all your careers, for each of you, which team actually has been your toughest opponent, and what is it about that team that has made it your toughest opponent?
Damn, I don't know. I would say McMaster. McMaster is the only team in all of OUA that we haven't beaten. We've beaten every single team but them. And every year, like regular season, we always have such a good like battle with them. We're always so close and then end up losing like late in the game. But I think that's like I'd say definitely the most like difficult opponent for us is McMaster for sure. Mason, you say something. I gotta think about it.
Yeah, like Eric said, like McMaster, they've been the powerhouse of the OUA in volleyball anyway for years and years. But I think I'll kind of go off the tracks a little and say our most competitive matchup would be probably against U of T. We have some really good games against them. They're always 4 or 5 setters, and you never know who's going to come out on top in those games. Those are some of the funnest games playing against them. We kind of match up well, and yeah, we have some pretty good battles with them. But yeah, like Eric said, McMaster, they've been a powerhouse, but I think next year we're hoping to knock them off. So
Other than that, I'd say on a personal level, Queens for me, just because my brother he's on the coaching staff at Queens. So every time I get to play them, it's like, man, like this different kind of game happens where me and my brother are just so competitive with each other. And historically, I think we've tied in wins and losses between each other. So, and I feel like we always have really good games whenever we play Queens. So we're always like pretty even in that sense. And it's nice to play against your family for sure.
yeah, the Queens games they're different because it's either they come into our home barn and we absolutely destroy them, or we go to Queens and we get absolutely ripped apart. So it's kind of different rivalry we got with them, where you never know who's gonna kick the other one's butt, and yeah, it's awesome.
Right. So team chemistry is super pivotal for sports, but unfortunately, due to the season being canceled, we lost one of that, which would be the locker room. How have you guys been able to build team chemistry with the new guys on your team?
I'd say like, well, we're through like team workouts to like everything external and like practices, obviously, like get to know the guys really well. But no, we have like a lot of like team workouts together where we like each bunch off into different groups and somehow those like get to be with each other. So like we're able to get to know the guys really well. We always check up on them. Like we have our group chats and everything. Like they seem like really good guys too. It's and like a big thing for us is we have like a meeting at the start of the year. It's about like team bonding and everything. And that's when we like open up to everyone else and basically like open up this like vulnerability area where you can like talk about how you feel, like what's going on, that kind of stuff. And that really like brings us together as a group and helps us like progress, like get to know like what everyone's thinking, like how you can talk to certain people on the team and everything. And it really helps a lot in practices, especially for sure, and games as well. So
Yeah, I think just to kind of go on vulnerability and talking with people, with the whole COVID pandemics and situations like that, we're not able to get into a big group as a team as often as we want outside of practices and whatnot. But I think a positive that I took out of it is being able to talk with uh, teammates like in smaller groups of 2 or 3, where you kind of get to really dig down and get to know one another. And I don't necessarily get that in like big team settings. You get it a little bit, but with smaller groups, you kind of really get to know a person and kind of have good conversations with them on a personal level. So
So in previous episodes, we've talked about in terms of the student athlete experience. We've always talked. A lot of people have always said, the locker room is like the best time for them. So with that being said, what aspect of the post-secondary student athlete experience has made it fulfilling for you and memorable?
yeah, like you said, the locker room's a big one, where you're in there whatever 45 minutes before practice, 45 minutes after practice. So it's an hour and a half every single day that you're just with your teammates, hanging out, having a good time. Whether you're kind of getting ready for your practice or just messing around and kind of talking trash to one another like we do all the time, me and Eric. But yeah, the locker room is definitely a place where you get a lot of bonding in, and you don't really feel it at first, but over the years you kind of, especially now that we don't have sorry, we don't have access to the team room anymore, and like it's a big part of our lives. That hour every day that we're in there, is you start to miss it once you don't have it.
Did you guys have any like, favorite or most memorable moments in the locker room, or?
none that we can say on camera. No, there's some good ones. I think that just like every single like pregame routine that we have like in the locker room, where we're just like blasting music and being stupid like we usually are. I don't know. It's just like that's something that I'm like not gonna take for granted next year, especially this year. Like we don't even have games and we can't do that. So like that's probably like my most favorite thing about game days is just like the locker room before. It's just how like energetic it is and how crazy it is. And our alumni now last year, it's something like I'm never gonna forget. Curtis McPherson, he'd always do these like weird speeches before all our games to like get us like laughing and like get us all loose, like like everyone would be all nervous and stuff. And Kurt would just come in like acting like the funniest guy, like with this weird Texan accent and like make up this story or whatever. And he'd be so goofy and it just like get all the guys loose and ready to go. Like something I'm never gonna take for granted is like the locker room, like like the energy and everything before games. Like it's so nice.
Right. Mason, you talked about this earlier, but I still want to ask, compared from last year to this year, do you think you guys are able to get to know the guys more now? Now there's no season and there's time to actually get to know someone compared to last year we have the locker room?
Yeah, I think we have a lot more time on our hands to kind of get to know each other, like, and hang out one on one. Obviously, with COVID, you can't hang out in ginormous groups, but like I said, being in small groups and kind of chatting, especially with online classes, we're not nearly as busy. Our practice schedule is a little bit slimmer this year, so there's a lot more time to kind of get to know one another and hang out outside of volleyball and outside of school. So I think that's one positive that I've taken out of the pandemic, and kind of not taken for granted the time that I'm spending with the boys. So
Yeah. What's the biggest word of advice you give to anyone who comes into the program? Being seniors on the team. Like, what's the biggest advice you give to the young guys?
I think just you don't take anything for granted. Like, I don't know, me and Eric are in our 5th years, and feels like I was 17 hopping in my first year a month ago, right? So it flies by fast. So just enjoy every moment. Don't get too upset about the little things, and enjoy playing volleyball, because after 5 years, like, a lot of us are done. We never play the game competitively again, right? So it's your kind of last kick at the can, and you don't want to waste it.
Yeah, like everyone always says the same thing, and like their last home game in 5th years, like it literally just goes by like that. Like it's so fast. So I would say same thing. Just don't take anything for granted. Like make the most of it. Like this is basically like one of the best times of your life, and it's gonna fly by quick. So do what you can to have the best time while you're here.
What are you looking forward to for next season?
I'm
I
looking
mean,
forward to getting back on the court and playing some games. Uh, it's been a long time. It's been almost a year since we've played our last game, so we're kind of eager to get out and compete. I know we played some inter squad games against each other, and that's pretty competitive, but it's not the same atmosphere as a real OUA game with fans and everything. Uh, you can't beat that. So I'm just looking forward to playing, competing, and hopefully winning an OUA championship next year.
for sure, yeah. I'm really looking forward to that. Just having that atmosphere of like that feeling of like, yes, we finally get to play a game again. Like, that locker room atmosphere before and everything, and walking like onto the court and it's just like blasting music. There's a ton of people in the crowd, and it's just like such a crazy feeling to have. And I'm really excited to finally get to do that again, hopefully.
So now we're going to switch topics. So this month on January 28th is Bella's Talk Day, one of, if not one of the most preeminent mental health campaigns in all of Canada. And this month on the Lakers Locker Room, we're focusing the conversation on mental health and how we can help continue the conversation. So Eric, I'm going to start with you. So just talk about where your passion for discussing mental health came from, and why is it so important for you to be an advocate for the conversation?
Yeah, so mental health's always been something like extremely important to me. It started actually back when I was in grade 7. uh Something like really personal happened where it was super unexpected. My one of my cousins who like got me into volleyball, he lost his battle with mental health back on actually New Year's of 2010. So that just like shocked my entire family. Something that was never expected, and it really took a toll on all of us. And that was when like back even in grade 7, I was so young, like I just started to like get a huge dip, and like didn't really want to do anything, didn't want to do any like didn't want to play volleyball, didn't want to go to school, none of this. Like I was just so sad all the time. And I realized like, okay, like, like mental health is super important. And this is at like such a young age too. So it's something like I pride on, like not just myself, like my family as well. And like our whole team as well too. Like we really pride on like how important it is to like talk about how you're feeling and everything. And like that was a big thing for me back in the day, was I wouldn't even like talk to anyone. I just like sit there and be silent and be sad with everything because of what happened and all that. So uh what's super important, and like everyone talks about this too, is just like you need to talk about it. You need to be vulnerable. Like how we were saying before at like the beginning of the year, we have like that are like our team building exercises where we like open up before to just be like as vulnerable as you can, because then as you open up, like it gets easier and easier to talk about things, and it makes you feel better as well, right? And just having like knowing that like when people know that like, hey, like you're not doing too well and all this kind of stuff, like it's it's just so much better to know that like everyone around you is thinking about you, and like they're trying to make you feel better, all this kind of stuff. Like Yeah, it's super important, and it's something that like it is being talked about a lot, but I feel like it should be talked about more because it also affects like performance on the court as well, right? Performance like in workouts and practices and games, all that kind of stuff. Like you always need to be like on top of your own mental health, right? Like no one's more important as yourself, you know? So it's something that like we like to talk about a lot, and that like our men's volleyball program, it's big for us. Like all our coaches as well, they have like open door policies where if you're feeling like you need to talk to someone about something, like our coaches are always there. Everyone, even on our team, is always there. Like everyone knows how important it is to be happy with yourself and all this kind of stuff. So something we take pride in for sure.
Yeah, Mason, same questions go for you.
Yeah, so with mental health, I never really knew that much about it until I got to Nipissing University. I come from a really small blue collar town where it's kind of like if you're feeling down, like you just got to push through, kind of get over it, kind of thing. And there wasn't that much talk about mental health back in the day when I was living in my small hometown. So when I came to Nipissing University and kind of had that experience, like Eric talked about, with our kind of team bonding and being vulnerable with each other and kind of letting things out, like it really shifted things for me, and I kind of really started to understand what mental health was all about and how I can be a supportive person for people that might be going through that kind of stuff, right? And obviously, like everyone goes through ups and downs. I go through ups and downs all the time, right? But as someone who doesn't necessarily struggle with mental health, I need to be available for people that might be struggling, and I'm always here to help a teammate out or listen or talk to them, kind of thing. And I think it's really important to get the message out about mental health. And I think Nipissing University as a whole does a great job of having resources for students, like student accessibility services and whatnot, student counseling. And I think as a whole, we do a really good job. I know Lakers athletics really pushes mental health and how we can get the message out there the best we can using our platform, right? And I've tried to be a pretty big influence on that with the student athlete advisory committee, sorry. And we really focus on mental health, especially in January, where we're going to be working on some stuff this year. We did a big Ballots Talk Day last year. I think for me, it's just about supporting others and kind of getting the message out. So that's kind of where I'm at, like at Nipissing University. I'm just here trying to be supportive and doing the best I can to help others. So
Mm.
Now, both of you guys mentioned like bottling up emotions, and I kind of feel, especially being a male athlete, it's big for growing up. Hold it in. You got to be strong, mentally tough. Keep your things together. Just fight through stuff. But, would you guys have anything to say for any of the younger, high school male athlete viewers out there who are stuck in that same stigma of, hey, bottle it up, fight through it, and don't go and get the support?
yeah, like for me personally, there's a tipping point, right? There's a certain point where you can bottle up your emotions, and then at a certain point you got to let it out, right? And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned as a male athlete. I was always told to just kind of bottle things in and push through and whatnot. And it kind of came actually my third year at university here. Wasn't having a very good time. I was struggling with off court issues and whatnot, and finally got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to talk to somebody about this, right? So I went into student counseling, talked about it, kind of worked my way through it, right? And after whatever, a couple weeks or a month, like you're good, you're able to reset, right? And I think that's just the biggest thing is once you get to a certain point, it's okay to let out your feelings and talk about it. And I think there's no shame in that. It's almost encouraged that in this society, right? So
Yeah, I agree with Mace. Like, yeah, that always happens. Like, especially when we were younger, like I always had that where people would say like, like being males and everything, you need to like, I don't know, you're kind of made of stone. Like you're not supposed to like show emotions, that kind of thing, and all that emotions keep bottling up. Like you're gonna explode basically, and it's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be a good scene. But I had the same issue. Like last year, I was having some difficulties, and I did the same thing as Mace. Like everything was just like building up like crazy, and I didn't really know what to do. So I went to counseling, and same thing, like just talking to someone, like letting them know what's going on and just having them listen. Like it's so beneficial to like bringing yourself up and that kind of thing. Like as even after like 2 sessions, like I was feeling so much better about myself. Like it's so important that people should talk about how they're feeling. Like you can't have that bottle up, or else like something bad could happen, you know. It's really important for people to talk about it, and like for people to listen as well. Like it's good having other people around you, knowing that like you got people that are there for you, you know.
Yeah, and if I can add on that, Eric, for me personally, it's not so much seeking for help or advice, it's seeking for someone to listen, right? Like you
Mhm.
said, you go in to counseling for whatever 2 or 3 sessions, and you just let it all out. You tell them what's going on, and honestly, for me, when I went, it didn't really matter what they said. It was just me allowing to express myself and get everything on the table. And like it takes it out of your brain and puts it away somewhere else, and it makes yourself feel a lot better, right? So
Yeah,
listening is very important when we talk about mental health.
yeah, just venting to someone about anything that's on your mind, like just having them listen, just getting all of that garbage out of your head, you know. Like it's so beneficial to your health for sure.
Mhm.
Right. We talked a lot in the previous episodes about the power of social media and its prominence in today's society. The question I want to pose to you guys is, although social media has its benefits, it has its negatives. What do you think have been the biggest misconceptions social media has portrayed to the public as it relates to mental health, and how do we combat them?
That's a good question. With mental health, I think social media does a pretty good job of kind of getting the message out and putting mental health into perspective, right? Social media has, like you said, a lot of negative and a lot of fake things out there. I think in terms of mental health, especially in Canada with the Bell Let's Talk movement and all that, I think they do a really good job of just laying out the facts and putting it all out there, and not doing anything fake, not doing anything drastic, just putting it out there and letting people know that mental health is a real thing, and it's something that if we work together, we can kind of combat that and kind of lower all the numbers and whatnot. So I think in terms of social media with mental health, I think they do a good job for sure.
Yeah, but to add on that, like nowadays, like everyone's on their phone all the time, right? So like it spreads so much awareness for sure for about mental health and everything, and now there's more professional athletes like stepping up. Like there's Kevin Love and like DeMar DeRozan, like the two huge guys that just always pride on how important mental health is, and these are big name athletes too, right? And just giving out like statistics on like certain things, like certain aspects of mental health, you know, like suicide rates, depression, like anxiety, that kind of thing. Like it's really important to spread the awareness of how like big of an issue mental health is, like, and like depression, that kind of thing. So that's one positive for sure about social media and mental health.
Yeah, and I think with social media, like especially with mental health, they do a great job of, like I said, putting it out there. But at the same time, I think social media is one of the biggest factors of the increase in mental health that we've had in our society. And I know it's something that I'm trying to get away from, is just random scrolling on whatever Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, stuff like that. Like it takes a toll on you when you're constantly looking and judging other people and all that stuff. Like it's not good for personal health, right? And I think as a whole, we gotta stray away from constantly being on our phones and constantly scrolling and judging people, and it's not good for our society. And I think if we can kind of stray away from that, you'll see people be a lot more happier with themselves and with others. So
Yeah. For those who want to get involved in the conversation or help in any way they can, Eric, what are some type of things that they can do to do just that?
Same thing, like spread the message, like show how important mental health is and everything. And the big thing for me is like just talking to people, like asking like, hey, like how are you doing? Like say like you go out to someone and maybe like they haven't talked to anyone in the past like week or something, and they've just been down on themselves. Like it's so easy to just like talk to someone and ask how they're doing, how they're feeling, like just for even like 5 minutes, that can make someone's day and that kind of thing. Like so you don't really know what anyone's going through, right? So talking to people and like asking what they're feeling, like just like having a little conversation to, like kind of open them up a little bit, like that can really make someone's day. That's something I noticed like recently. Like it's just talking to someone, especially nowadays, because no one really gets to see anybody. Like everyone's stuck at home, so whenever you get the chance, like talking to people really helps for sure.
Yeah, I
Right.
think just having someone to talk to and just being there for somebody. I got a little story. So it was in my grade 12 year, we were doing the provincial volleyball championships in a small town a few hours away. And so every year you get like a hostess, so somebody that kind of shows you around the school and make sure you're not getting lost or anything. So we had this girl, she was in grade 9 or 10, and she was our hostess, and she's very quiet and she was very nice. But so we got to spend the weekend with her and just kind of hanging out, talking, being nice. And we got to do a bunch of stuff, like go out for food and whatnot as a team. And so we ended up winning the championship. And I get a text from her as we're going home, and she says, "Hey, like I just want to thank your entire team for just being there for me. Like before this tournament, I was having some suicidal thoughts and whatnot, but you guys came into my life and just kind of made me realize that there's some good people out there, and there's people are supportive and nice." And she just wanted to thank us for doing that for her. And like that just really hit me hard. For me, that was way more important than winning a championship, because you never know, if we weren't there, like she might not be here anymore, right? So it was a pretty crazy situation, but like I'm glad that we had the opportunity to spend the weekend with her and maybe save her life, right? So
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, don't even know like the circumstances of what people are going through too, right? So even just like talking to someone, being goofy, like it could really help out someone's day. Like especially in Mason's case, like that's crazy. Just how like you never know what people are going through, and just saying like the smallest things to them could just save their life in a sense, you know?
And that's another thing about social media too, is because when you see someone post something, you say, "Oh, that's cool," but you never know what's going on in their life. Like everyone can put up a facade on social media saying that I'm okay and my life is great, but then behind closed doors, they're a mess. So I think that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions about social media, is that everyone thinks that whoever posts a picture, their life is a-okay and great and they have everything going for them, but you never really know what someone's going through until you talk to them.
Exactly. That's all social media is now, basically. I feel like it's just like that. It's like a platform showing like your fake personality. Like it's something to portray yourself as like better than who you are, because you want people to think like, oh, this guy's sick or whatever. This guy's so cool from what he's posting on Instagram or that kind of garbage. Like it's basically, yeah, just like a facade, like what you said, for people trying to portray a better image of themselves because they're worried about what other people think. And like that's not really how things should be. I feel like I don't think it's really beneficial to anyone, in my opinion. But
Yeah. How big of a role do you think pressure from outside is playing a role in mental health? Like a lot of people, like a lot of athletes, how are ranked and have all these expectations, sometimes crumble under the pressure because they can't live up to what people, like the bar that people are saying for them. So just talk about, how pressure could play a role in mental health for some people, especially for athletes.
Mhm.
Yeah, the biggest thing, like for me as an athlete, is to kind of block out what people set out for me, right? People are gonna set standards. They're gonna be high, they're gonna be low, whatever they think of me, right? And the biggest thing is to just not care what other people think. I know what I have to do. I know my goals, and I'm trying to reach those, and I don't really care what other people think, right? So just kind of keep to myself. I have personal goals. Our team has goals, and we're gonna work towards those as hard as we can, and we're not going to worry about what other people think, right? I think that's a great way of dealing with pressure, just kind of blocking it out and trying not to worry about it and just focusing on yourself, right?
Now, what about for injuries, for instance? Like, I'll say myself, my first year, I tore my ACL, and that was probably one of the most life-changing things that happened to me. I almost had an identity crisis because, like, the athlete I used to be was no longer. Have you guys witnessed that with any of your fellow teammates with injuries or yourselves even?
Yeah, with myself in grade 10, I actually broke my leg playing volleyball. And at the time, it was like, am I ever going to play sports competitively again, right? I was playing at a pretty high level with volleyball and hockey. And yeah, it was, like you said, an identity crisis where it's like, sports have been my life like since I was 3 years old, and now I might not be able to compete with my friends and teammates and whatnot. So that was a big one. And then actually at the start of last year, so I came off a third year where I wasn't playing very good. I wasn't in a good spot, and I kind of took the summer to kind of recuperate. And I was really excited for the season. I ended up getting a concussion in training camp, and I was out for 2 months. And it was pretty scary for me. The concussion lasted 2.5 months, and I wasn't sure like if I was going to play that semester or anything like that. But I kind of turned it around and was able to play a bit. And yeah, it was scary for a while there. And yeah, it's just you gotta be positive when you're in those situations when you're injured and on the sidelines. You just gotta take a positive attitudes towards it and hope for the best and work hard with physio and whatnot, and hopefully you can get back out on the court.
Yeah, with my experiences, so last year, heading into the season, we went to Humber for a volleyball tournament in preseason, and ended up getting a concussion in our last game there. So I was out for a while. My like obviously it's just frustrating, like not being able to play, not even being able to do schoolwork or anything. So you're just kind of stuck at home, like by yourself, and it's so annoying. Well, like nowadays, that's usually what life is, but at the time it sucked. So I finally got back to recovery, played a few games in like the first half, and when we went to Amsterdam last year, on like the second day of the volleyball tournament there, I got another concussion. So while we're in Amsterdam, we finished the tournament. Uh, these guys are out having the times of their lives, and I'm stuck at home in the hotel, like on New Year's Eve in Amsterdam. Like fireworks are going off like crazy. I got the biggest headache of my life, and I'm just stuck alone. And that just took like a huge hit. And I also had like an identity crisis as well. I was like, well, like, what is my luck? Like, this is garbage, and uh, had like bad grades after the first half because I missed a bunch of school from concussions and everything. Finally got better from a concussion. And then while I'm supposed to be having like the trip of a lifetime with all my best friends, like I get another conk and then couldn't do anything. So it took a huge toll on my mental health at that time. And that's kind of when when we came back and like things like weren't really getting better. That's when I kind of needed to like I took a moment and I was just like, I need to work on myself. I need to fix this. And then that's when I like went into counseling and I needed to like talk to someone and like just have like everything that was in my head, just like let it out. I just needed to let all these things go. And once I finally did that, like I realized like, okay, like, yeah, injuries suck, but like you just have to be patient because like you're gonna make it back. Like the road to recovery is always better. And then once I realized that it's not gonna like happen overnight where you're just gonna get back into sport, like things just got way, way better right after that. Like I finally realized, okay, just like take it one day at a time. And things got back and I eventually got like really a lot better and like really happy with myself after that.
Yeah, quarantine was a time last year where I think it's safe to say for everybody, mental health was affected in some way, shape, or form. So during that time, what were some things you guys were able to do to help yourselves get through this? And what advice could you give to other people from what you've learned from that experience to help other people in the future in case there's ever a time where they feel down?
Yeah, for myself, right at the start of quarantine last March, when this is all just starting up, I was able to quarantine with my family here. So that was a big boost for me where I was able to spend some quality time with my family, which I hadn't in a long time being up in Ontario. And so it was actually really good for me, kind of helped me get through it. But for people that might be going through quarantine alone or with maybe one other person, right? It can be really tough and it can have a toll on your mental health, and you can kind of go a little crazy, right? If you're by yourself all day, every day for weeks on end. So I think the biggest thing for me was just having a support group there and having family, and just like we've been talking about mental health for the last little bit now, and just having someone to talk to and listen to is kind of the biggest thing for people in quarantine. So
Yeah, for me it was getting in a routine. Like at the start of quarantine, like I was basically like I had no sense of routine at all. I'd get up at any time I wanted. Like once school was done, I was just like sitting on the couch playing video games. And, like that was it basically. But I did get to spend it with my family, which was like amazing because that was a huge positive about it. Like I don't get to see my family too often. And like we all were in the same place for it was like 5 months or something. It was awesome getting to see everyone. But yeah, one thing was getting in a routine, like trying to get up early and like have that whole day planned out, and reducing screen time was like huge for me. Like instead of just sitting on the couch, like watching TV, sitting on your phone on Instagram, blah blah, like all that stuff. Like I just tried to like get up and like move around, like help out my mom with cooking, like I don't know, make fun of my brother, that kind of stuff. Like just goof around, try and like make light of the situation. And yeah, stay off your screen for sure. Like that was huge.
Speaking of screen time, so while everyone was in quarantine, we had a team Zoom call, and we were just talking. We had got on the topic of screen time, and one of my teammates was like, "Oh yeah, like I've been on my phone like all day." And my coach was like, "Well, pull up your screen time." He's like, "Yeah, I got 17 hours of screen time today," and we're like, "Oh my god!"
Insane. Like
Oh, it was brutal.
that was crazy though.
Yeah, tying it back to our earlier conversation, we talked a little bit about how social media could put up a facade. So, knowing what you guys know about mental health, are there any signs for the listeners who are listening right now, and the people that don't know, are there any signs that you guys can see in a person to say that they're down or they need someone to talk to? Like,
Yeah, for myself, like I can tell like with my teammates if they're down or being happy or whatnot. It's pretty, especially like when we had access to the locker room, you go in there and you see everyone walk in, right? And you can tell right away if they're on or if they're off, if they're in a good mood, bad mood kind of thing. And like a lot of the signs for me, especially with our team, because we have a very talkative group. Like if someone like maybe we'll say Eric for example, if he walks into the team room and he's got his head down and he's not talking, well, it's pretty clear that he's not having a great day because usually he's smiling and being an idiot and screaming at people. So I think the biggest thing for me is just physical signs, right? If they're looking down at the ground, not looking at anybody, not talking, like those are some pretty big signs for me.
Yeah, one big thing for me too, like talking about like I guess social media, like we have like a bunch of different group chats within our team and stuff. So I can tell like I know how now I'm at the point where I know how everyone is on our team. So if like I notice like someone's not talking, like not sending messages to our group chat or whatever, or even like Zoom calls, like we have weekly Zoom calls with our team, and I can tell like if someone's just like head down like this in their Zoom call all the time or something, like that guy's going through something or whatever. So you just send them like a text or whatever, and they don't reply for what 10 hours, 4 hours at a time or something. Like I feel like something's going on there. Like that's a big sign for me is when like someone's usually super talkative or texty, I guess, and they end up just like going silent for a bit, and like either they're busy or they're staying off their phone, which is like good, or like something's going on. So I always like to check up on those guys and see how they're doing.
what would
Yeah,
be the
and this
best
is
way?
something.
I'll go ahead.
Oh, so this is something like you can even walking down the halls of the athletic center and seeing someone like you always walk by people and maybe have awkward eye contact with them or something, and like just a simple smile and a head nod or just saying hi, like that could change somebody's entire day, right? So it's important to carry that positivity throughout campus, throughout your daily life, and because like I said, one smile or one wave could make a person's day and make them feel a lot better about themselves. So
Yeah. What would be the best way to approach a situation like that in terms of if you see that somebody's down? Like, do you go up to them and talk to them? Do you tell someone that, hey, this I see this person's not is going through something? Like, what would be the best way to approach a situation like that?
Yeah, I like in that sense, I always like try to say like, hey, like what's up? Or, like start a little conversation if I know like these guys look like they're down or whatever. And like I'll say like, hey, like what's up or anything. And if I know like they're like trying to shy away from the conversation and start leaving, then I know like hey, this guy just wants to be with himself. Like that's fine. But like I'll check up on him later, something like that, see if he's ready to talk at some other point. Uh but yeah, like just saying like, hey, like how are you doing? Like how are things going? And then just have them like try and like talk on that note and just see like what they got to say for themselves, like what's going on in their lives, kind of thing. And then you can just like build up a conversation from that if they're ready to talk, for sure.
Yeah, with our team, like we're all very cohesive. We're very close. So when I see a teammate that's down, like I like to maybe crack a little joke or maybe bring something funny up that happened last week or something like that. Because especially with our team, we're a bunch of jokesters. We're a bunch of idiots just kind of hanging out with each other, making stupid comments and whatnot. So if you can get guys that aren't feeling very well back into that rhythm of being talkative and joking around, like I think that's the best thing to bring them into their comfort zone again, right, with the team. In terms of people that maybe you're not as close with, like Eric said, maybe just give them a text and be like, hey, like what's up, I noticed you're kind of feeling down or whatever. Like just let them know that you're there to listen and talk to them. I think that's one of the biggest things for people that you're not necessarily super close with.
From everything we've talked about today, what is the one message you want people that are listening to this conversation to take away from this?
I'd say like don't be afraid to talk about how you're feeling. Like we always like say like vulnerability is power. Like that's like the big message from our team is being vulnerable and like being open about your feelings is that's like the next step to like being happy. And being able to talk to someone and like vent about how you're feeling, like just having someone listen to you and having someone like hear what you have to say, like it is huge. And I just like I can't stress that enough, is like it's so important to talk and be open and to be like with someone that's like you're comfortable with talking to. Like that's like once you like get all of that out of your system, you're gonna feel like 10 times better. I guarantee that.
Yeah, and just to add on what Eric said, I think the biggest thing for me is to have someone that's willing to listen. I'm fortunate enough to have a close family that I can talk to, have teammates, friends that I can talk to. And if everybody had at least one person that they could talk about their feelings and have them just listen is so huge for mental health. I know there's some people out there that don't feel comfortable talking about that stuff with anybody. And if they just found one person that they could talk to and feel comfortable about them listening to what they have to say, would do major things for people. So
I think the biggest thing from what I've learned about you guys in this episode is that it's okay to not be okay. Like you don't have to put up a facade and act like everything's a-okay. Like it's okay to say, hey, today I feel off. Like, or today I'm not feeling so great. Like I need to talk to someone. Like I feel like sometimes people always think they have to put up a facade or put up a front that they're okay. Like you don't always have to be okay. Like there's no shame in saying, hey, I need someone to talk to. And that's the thing about society, is that society puts up all these stereotypes saying that for men, for example, that they have to be strong and they have to, show no emotions. Like, hey, if you shed a tear, like it's okay. Like if you feel off, it's okay. Like there's no shame in talking to somebody. I think that's the biggest thing I've learned from you guys in this episode. Jason?
Yeah.
Communication for sure. And being an athlete at Nipissing University, I can speak for it. When you're walking down the hallway, you see the volleyball guys. You guys are definitely the most social and like coherent group there is. And it's like without a doubt, anybody can tell that all of you guys are close. So I think a lot more people and a lot more teams need to adapt to that. And again, be coherent and just communicate with each other.
yeah, absolutely. Nobody's perfect individually, right? But if we can all come together and help each other out, that's one of the biggest things with our team. We're a lot stronger as a team than individuals, right? And if one person's feeling down, it's everybody else's job to kind of help lift them up if possible. So that's kind of what we take in as a team, that we're a group, we're cohesive, and we're in it together. So
Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for talking with us about mental health and your stories. We really appreciate it. But it's not over yet, though. So we're going to have some fun here. Once again, we're bringing back our quick hitter segment. So this is the part of the podcast where we ask the guest a question and they have to answer as fast as possible. So Jason, you have the answers? You have the questions ready?
Give me 1 sec. I'm just popping them up right now. Get them in order.
oh, here we go.
All right, I'm ready.
Feel stupid in front of
Okay. Okay. First question. Favorite artist?
Bob Marley.
Morgan Wallen.
So what's one artist or song that you have on repeat the most?
Oh.
Damn, I have a lot of songs on repeat. I'd say Sad People by Kid Cudi right now.
We're gonna go with Seven Summers, Morgan Wallen.
All those guys from Saskatchewan. Jesus.
All-time favorite album.
Damn. Mace, you go first. I gotta think. I got a lot.
I'm gonna have to go with Dark Horse, Nickelback.
Yeah, that's an OG.
Yeah, classic.
Damn. Okay, I gotta look here. Sorry, guys.
God, Eric.
So many. Honestly, okay, just like Motley Crue Greatest Hits has been a huge one for me recently. It's not like an album, but this is the greatest hits by Motley Crue.
Fair enough.
There's a big one on Halloween.
All right, so who's your guys' favorite athlete?
LeBron James. Or Tiger Woods. I'll say Tiger Woods, actually.
I'm a big Usain Bolt fan.
Okay.
I respect though. Those are unique. Most people that we've had, they pick same sport athletes. So that's okay.
Okay. Next question. Team that annoys you the most or whose fans annoy you the most? So it can be a pro team or in the OUA.
I gotta say Guelph men's volleyball and their fans. That's just huge for us. Like every time we go there, we get a beating from the crowd.
Oh yeah, their entire football team stands behind our service line and just chirps the crap out of us when we're going to serve.
Yeah.
First year we were playing them in playoffs, and it was in between a timeout. I wasn't playing, just a young rookie. I was just playing pepper with one of my buddies during a timeout. And we're right beside their football team, and they're just giving it to us. And we're not even playing. We're not even in the game. And they're just chirping the crap out of us. It was hilarious.
Like I hate that environment. I love that environment, but I hate that environment.
Okay, if you could spend the whole day with one person, dead or alive, who is it?
Probably Bob Marley, honestly.
I played.
Oh my God, of course.
Okay.
Why not?
Okay, this question is super personal for me. So Eric, I'm asking you first. Do you like pineapple on your pizza?
Hell yeah, I like pineapple.
Yes! Yes!
Man.
Yes! My God, yes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You too? Yes!
No, eh?
No,
Yes.
this one is gonna be the game changer though. Tejon does this one too. It's a personal one for him. Do you guys do milk before cereal or cereal before milk?
What? No, cereal before milk.
Cereal before milk.
No, that's psychopath. If you put milk before cereal, that's weird.
That's
Tejon. Tejon.
Hey, they like pineapple on the pizza, so hey, I'm good. Last show you binge watched?
What did I binge watch? Hey, school. I can't remember. What was it?
I just finished Prison Break on Netflix.
Great series.
Unreal.
Oh, okay. Weird one. I watched it. It's called Alien Worlds on Netflix. It's actually cool as F, but not gonna it's cool.
All right, Xbox or PS4?
PS4.
PS4.
One skill you wish you were good at?
Did I just say basketball? Is basketball a skill?
Yeah, if you want.
I suck. I wish I was good at basketball.
Skill I was good at. I could go basketball because I'm absolutely terrible at it. But what's a skill that I wish I could be good at? I wish I could dunk. Like I can't dunk. I'm 6'2" and I still can't dunk. It's actually
That's not true. Remember, we have a video of Mason on our Instagram dunking a volleyball. I mean, it was a low rim, but it was a dunk.
There's no way that was a 10-foot rim.
No, probably like 9.5, but it's a dunk. It counts.
It still looks sick though.
It looked pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
I can attest. Once you know how to dunk, it's fun.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, one word to describe 2020.
Garbage.
Opportunistic. That was a great word.
We were eating yang there. We're not on the same level.
Next one. Who do you got winning the NBA championship?
Yeah, I want to say Raptors, but I think it's Lakers back to back. I gotta be like Canadian boy. We gotta get Raptors in there, but
it's a hard to go against the Lakers, but just because Eric picked them, I'm gonna pick the Nuggets underdogs.
yeah, that's a good pick.
See what happens. They were close last year.
They're not looking good right now, but they got
I
it.
think it's gonna be Lakers or Nets. Nets are looking nice right now.
Yep.
So it is early, but I think the Nets are looking nice.
KD looking dangerous. I can't lie.
Yeah, he is. He's nice right now. Same with Kyrie. That's a good duo.
Yep. Funniest teammate.
It's a tough one. I don't know. All of us are like stupid funny, so it's weird. I would say like I'm gonna switch that to like weirdest teammate because I guess that's like the funniest. It'd be a tie between Jeremy Murray and Jackson Young, and maybe Liam too. I'd put those three in there.
My funniest teammates, they go as a group. They're more funny in a group, and that's Eric and Liam. They're roommates together. The things they do are just messed up. The things they say, are messed up. Yeah, they're the funniest when they're together.
Me and him like share a brain pretty much. They think the same thing all the time.
All pass. All right. So if you guys will say we're in a completely different timeline, alternate universe, what would you guys be doing if it wasn't volleyball?
I had this conversation with Tyrus on our team. I would definitely go back to the 1980s, be a professional skateboarder, because it was like so cool at that time. I think that'd be sweet, and like all the music was sweet back then too. So
okay,
for sure.
Yeah, if I was in an alternate universe, I think I would want to be on the Canadian Olympic hockey team. I think that was always a dream of mine growing up, playing for the World Juniors, playing for Team Canada at the Olympics. That's what I would want to be in a different world.
Yeah. And final question, plans after Nipissing?
For me, I hope eventually I go to med school. And like I think it'd be really fun to play professional volleyball. I don't know if that'd be in the picture for me. Like maybe it's like if I have the opportunity, but that would be a really cool thing. Like going to Europe and Amsterdam last year, like watching the whole like European volleyball scene, it is like so cool. So we've like always talked about like, I know like me, Liam and Mason, we've always had this like dream of playing in the Netherlands, like after we went there. And like that would be so cool if we could all go there and play. I think so.
Yeah, I think like Eric said, the possibility of playing professional volleyball, it's definitely a possibility that I could take advantage of. If not, then I'm looking into international teaching after my teaching degree for a year just to get some experience, travel the world, see what happens. And then after that, start my teaching career somewhere else. So
what would be your ideal location?
I've looked at like Southeast Asia. They have lots of opportunities out there, which would be pretty cool. And I also looked at Central America as well. Somewhere warm, somewhere different than Canada.
Anyways, that's all the time we have, guys. So Eric, Mason, thank you guys so much for joining us.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for having us, guys. That was fun.
All right, that's a wrap at another edition of the Lakers Locker Room. I want to thank our guests, Eric and Mason, for joining us. You can catch the video of this interview on YouTube, listen to the full interview on all podcast streaming platforms. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.